Hey guys, today we're going to talk about something that creeps into every home, no matter how patient, how loving, or how well-intentioned you are. It's that moment when your kid just won't sit still. You're standing there, dinner's burning, your head's pounding, and your kid is staring at a wall like he's waiting for a cartoon character to walk out of it. And all you want to do is yell. But you don't have to. You don't have to raise your voice, raise your blood pressure, or raise a child who flinches every time you walk into the room. Let's become the best single daddy we can be. Here's the truth. You've probably been doing it the wrong way. I did too. I thought attention was something I could command. Look at me when I'm talking. Sit down right now. Focus. But when you're the only adult in the room, the only parent they rely on, those moments echo a little louder. The silence after you yell hits differently. And that silence started to haunt me more than the noise ever did. So today, I want to walk you through how I taught my son to focus without yelling, without threats, without turning into the very thing I promised myself I'd never become. Let's rewind to a typical evening. It's 6:15 p.m., and I'm chopping vegetables with one hand while holding a math worksheet in the other. My son, 8 years old and bursting with questions about whether slugs have teeth or not, is flipping through Pokemon cards like there's no tomorrow. I ask him to do his homework. He nods, keeps flipping. I ask again, this time firmer. Still flipping. You know that itch behind your eyes? That rising pressure in your chest? That split-second thought, is he ignoring me on purpose? That's where the yelling used to start. But something changed. One day, I didn't yell. I knelt down. I looked him in the eye, and I asked him something that shocked both of us. Is it hard for you to switch gears when you're excited about something? He blinked, nodded slowly. Yeah, it's like my brain doesn't hear you right away. That night, something broke open, not in him, but in me. Because the truth is, your child isn't disobedient. They're distracted. They're overwhelmed. They're learning how to be a human with impulse control, transitions, attention spans, and you, are the guide they need most. And guides don't yell. They lead. So here's what I did instead of yelling. I built rituals. Before homework, we light a small candle. Sounds cheesy, right? But it's a visual cue. It's a moment of stillness. Lighting that flame says, we're entering focus time now. No scolding. No come on, man. Just light, sit, begin. When he gets distracted mid-task, I don't snap. I tap the table twice, our little nonverbal signal. He knows what it means. I train that response like a coach would. Calm repetition. Predictability. Respect. Because here's the thing. Kids mirror regulation. If you lose it, they learn to lose it. If you model presence, they learn to stay present. The other big shift, I stopped calling it homework. We renamed it build time. He gets to build his brain, just like he builds Legos. Language matters, especially when it's coming from the only parent they look up to. And no, it wasn't perfect. Some days, he still slides into distractions like butter on a hot pan. But now, instead of feeling defeated, I stay curious. Hey, buddy, what just pulled your attention away? Not, why are you doing this again? Not, didn't we talk about this? Curiosity. Not criticism. Because that's the hardest part of single parenting. There's no backup. No one to tag in. But that also means we have the clearest chance to model emotional clarity. If you yell, your kid learns fear. If you breathe, your kid learns patience. If you ask instead of accuse, your kid learns trust. And trust is the soil where focus grows. Let me ask you something. When was the last time someone gently brought you back to focus? When was the last time you were treated like your attention mattered? Exactly. Your child doesn't need a boot camp instructor. They need a mirror of what focus actually feels like. You are that mirror. Even when you're exhausted. Even when you're laid on bills and tired of leftovers and running on fumes. Especially then. Because that's when the lesson hits hardest. Not when it's easy, but when you choose to stay soft in the storm. And look, I know it's tempting. You're tired, man. You're juggling jobs, emotions, groceries, and guilt. You feel invisible sometimes. So when your kid doesn't listen, it feels like rejection. But it's not. They're not rejecting you. They're asking you without words, can you stay patient even now? And if you answer yes, they'll start answering yes too. You know what's wild? I used to think yelling was effective. Not because it felt good, but because it got results. Immediate results. He'd freeze, look up, comply. But now I realize that wasn't respect. That was fear. And fear might look like obedience in the moment, but it destroys attention in the long run. Because you can't focus when your nervous system is in survival mode. You can't learn with a clenched jaw and shaky hands. And you can't grow when the person you love most sounds like a threat. I learned that lesson the hard way. One night I snapped. I was tired, behind on deadlines, and his toy train kept making the same loud clanking noise over and over. I shouted, "Enough! Turn it off and sit down." He froze, turned it off, sat down. But then he didn't look at me. Not once. For the rest of the night. And I realized something was broken. Not just in him, in me. Because here's what no one tells you. Kids don't remember everything you say, but they remember how your voice made them feel. So I changed tactics. I started whispering. You heard me, right? Instead of yelling, I lower my voice. Speak just above a whisper. Say, "Hey, I see you're having a hard time switching to homework mode. Want me to help you get started with the first question?" At first, he didn't know what to do with that. He expected tension, but all he got was stillness. And slowly, his body mirrored it. Focus isn't about force. It's about environment. And when you're a single dad, you are the environment. You set the emotional temperature of the room. You set the rhythm, the tone, the space where attention either shrivels or grows. So I started asking myself, what kind of room am I building? One filled with tension, commands, and eye rolls? Or one filled with breathing room, quiet accountability, and dignity? You know what I discovered? Most kids know when they're off track. They just don't know how to get back. That's your job. Not to punish, to guide. So I started guiding. When his focus drifted, I'd touch his shoulder gently. Make eye contact, not from above, but at eye level. Say, want to take a 2-minute break and come back with your best brain? And sometimes, yeah, he'd say no. He'd grumble, cross his arms. But because I didn't yell, he didn't escalate. And because I didn't back down, he knew I still expected effort. That's the balance. Soft presence. Strong boundaries. You see, being a single dad means you're the whole team. Coach, player, referee, and cheerleader. And sometimes you'll blow the whistle too fast. Sometimes you'll miss the play entirely. But you get another chance. Every day. Every moment. The other day, he was struggling with reading. He kept skipping lines, guessing words, zoning out. I was about to correct him again, but I stopped myself. Instead, I asked, "Is the page starting to feel blurry?" He nodded. "Yeah, like my brain is tired." So I said, "Cool. Let's pause. You're not behind. You're just low on fuel." We drank water. Did 3 jumping jacks. Laughed at each other. Sat back down. And you know what? He read the next page with 0 mistakes. Not because I demanded it, but because I helped him reset. Here's the truth I keep coming back to. Focus is a muscle. You don't grow it by yelling at it. You grow it by using it gently, consistently, and with compassion. And your child isn't weak because they can't focus. They're human. And guess what? So are you. You're not a robot. You get frustrated. You want to slam the table and scream. Why can't you just focus for 5 minutes? But the question isn't about them. It's about you. Can you stay present long enough to build their presence? Can you be their calm in the storm? Because when you do, something shifts. They start copying your stillness. They start respecting the silence. They start listening not because they're afraid, but because they feel safe. And that, my friend, is the kind of focus that lasts a lifetime. There's this moment that still lives rent-free in my memory. It wasn't loud. No tears. No tantrums. Just a quiet victory that only we knew happened. He was sitting at the kitchen table, reading a short story for class. His legs were swinging back and forth, not quite touching the floor yet. Every few lines, his eyes would wander to the clock, then to the fridge, then to the floor. But he kept coming back, one sentence at a time. He read. He paused. He read again. And when he finished the last paragraph, he looked up and whispered. I did it without getting up once. I didn't cheer. Didn't say good job like a reflex. I leaned in and said, you focused like a lion today. His eyes lit up. Because here's what I'd learned. Kids don't just need praise. They need identity. He wasn't just a boy who finished his homework. He was someone who can focus, who has power over his mind, who is becoming someone he can be proud of. You get to build that belief, one phrase at a time. So I started naming his victories. Not just you finished your math, but you stayed with it even when it got hard. Not just you listened, but you came back to focus when your brain wandered. I called it out every time, not in a fake way, but in a way that built self-awareness. Because focus isn't just about sitting still. It's about knowing when you've drifted and choosing to come back. That's emotional maturity. That's self-regulation. And it starts with you. You want your kid to focus? Show them how to return. Because here's the truth. Even adults drift. You've read the same paragraph 3 times in a book before. You've zoned out mid-conversation with someone you love. You've scrolled your phone during dinner. So when your kid does it, don't act shocked. Don't treat it like rebellion. Treat it like reality. And teach them how to return. We built reset rituals, not punishments, not lectures. Simple tools for coming back. A deep breath, a stretch, a funny shake-off dance, a glass of cold water, a finger tap to the table, 3 times like a rhythm. And slowly, those little habits rewired his relationship with focus. It wasn't something he had to force. It was something he could flow into. And me? I stopped being the enforcer. I became the example. Because when I picked up my own phone while he was studying, he noticed. When I sat down with a book of my own beside him, he noticed that too. You can't expect your child to build focus in a room full of noise, especially not if that noise is you. So I started changing the room, turned off background noise, lowered the lights, made the table clear and calm. I even added a plant. Yeah, a plant. Something alive, quiet, still. A symbol, maybe, of what we're trying to grow. Because that's what this really is. You're not raising a child who can finish homework. You're raising a future adult who can manage their attention in a world designed to destroy it. And the biggest gift you can give isn't pressure. It's presence. Your quiet matters more than your commands. Your example teaches louder than your voice ever could. And on the days when you mess up, because you will, don't hide it. I've told my son, I lost my cool earlier. That wasn't fair to you. I'm going to work on it. And every time I do, I see it in his eyes. He learns that focusing isn't about being perfect. It's about coming back. Again and again. And if that's not the essence of fatherhood, I don't know what is. There's this thing that happens late at night after the house goes quiet. The dishes are done. The homework's finished. The TV's off. And my son is brushing his teeth, humming something tuneless like kids always do. I sit on the couch in silence, staring at the lamp. And in those moments, tired, sore, still wearing work clothes, I ask myself, did I show up today? Not just feed him. Not just remind him. Did I actually show up? Did I teach him how to hold his focus without fear? Did I create a space where he could learn, not just school stuff, but who he is becoming? And you know what? Some nights the answer is no. I snapped. I rushed. I missed a cue. But most nights I tried. I looked him in the eye. I kept my voice low. I reminded him, not with words, but with presence, that he is safe, that he matters, that learning doesn't have to feel like punishment. And if you're still with me, if you're watching this far in, that means you're the kind of dad who wants to try too. So let me leave you with this. Stop thinking you have to be louder to get through to your kid. Start being more consistent. Stop thinking attention is earned by yelling. Start earning it by staying. If they're zoning out, it's not about you being ignored. It's about their brain needing a guide. And you have the power to be that guide without raising your voice once. You don't need to be the drill sergeant. You don't need to be the teacher, the therapist, the master of every subject. You just need to be the father who doesn't give up. The one who chooses connection over control. The one who whispers when the world screams. Because here's the thing. Your child's focus is not built in school. It's not built by yelling. It's built in the tiny, quiet moments you think don't matter. Moments like sitting beside them even when they say, "I got this." Breathing slowly instead of snapping. Letting them try again. Naming the progress, not just the outcome. Returning again and again, even when you're tired. You are building something invisible right now. Focus, resilience, trust. And one day, years from now, your child won't remember every worksheet. But they'll remember this, that they were never alone in the process. That even when their attention wandered, you stayed. Not because it was easy, but because you chose to. And that, my friend, is how you teach a child to focus. Not with yelling, not with fear, but with the quiet, relentless presence of a father who refuses to walk away. Your child doesn't need a perfect father. They need one who chooses to stay.